Okay, I just got a message saying that I was muted. That is my bad, definitely. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Tech Tips series. This is our 12th week of Tech Tips Live, our weekly series where we get together and talk about different types of technology here at K-State. A few housekeeping items. I'm going to have everybody's microphone muted. At the end, we're going to save questions for the end. Feel free to send in questions anytime over the chat, but then I'll wait until the end to ask those to our presenter. At the end, if you would prefer to ask a question live, feel free to unmute your microphone and then go ahead and ask your question live. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to this week's presenter, Joelle Pitts with K-State Libraries, who's here to talk about the new Literacies Alliance. So Joelle, go ahead.
All right, thank you. So I'm Joelle. I'm an associate professor and instructional design librarian here in Hale Library, and I represent the new Literacies Alliance, which is an interinstitutional project with 9 institutional partners across the U.S., and our aim is to create a suite of online lessons which improve the information literacy, the research skills, and in general, the ability to think about and evaluate information in our students and in our communities. This project is a response to our direct observations in the library with our interactions with students, and also to some of the growing concerns that we're hearing from teaching faculty that our first-year students, our transfer students, and even sometimes our graduate students don't know enough about research or the research process in order to be successful in their classes and in their programs. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the project, about the lessons, and how you can use them in your courses here at K-State. So to start, I'll show you the NLA website that we've built, which covers some of the information that I'll share with you today. So let me see if I can share my screen here. All right, can you guys all see that okay?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you can find this page by searching for the New Literacies Alliance on either the library's website or the university website, or you can find it just by noting the URL here. This is the main library URL /NLA. And as you can read here, we're using these lessons as a sort of leveling platform to help get students with wide-ranging research skills and abilities into a similar place before we provide library instruction or before the students embark on a major research assignment. And because these lessons are online and can be completed as homework at the student's own pace, this allows the librarians, the teaching faculty, or both if they're working together, to really delve into the more advanced critical thinking discussions and in-depth research practices during class time. We've created lots of lessons over the last 4 years, but the ones that we're showcasing here on this page are mapped to the new Association of College and Research Libraries Framework for Information Literacy for Higher Education, which is a mouthful, but it's basically a relatively new set of knowledge practices and dispositions within the library field that aim to facilitate more than just the searching and citing skills, which are important skills and which are also covered here. But more so, they're aiming to get students to think about information critically, think about the relationship to information as consumers, as researchers, and ultimately as producers, creators of information in various contexts. So you can see, if I scroll down here a little bit, a list of the lessons that we've created so far that are mapped to this new framework. We actually have several more lessons that deal more with digital literacy issues, and we can show you those as well if you're interested, but these are the ones that we've created most recently. Each of these have a short little description next to them to tell you kind of what they're about, and you can go in on your own and go through the lesson all the way to the end to see if they are applicable to your classes. But just to give you a brief overview here, we have a lesson on how to determine the scope of an investigation, and this is actually the one I'm going to show you here in a minute. the types of information that are out there that are typically used by students in college classes and how to choose the right type of information for your purpose. We've got a lesson on search strategies. So this is a more traditional library topic, so how to search strategically and find the information that you need in the plethora of information that's out there and available. We've got a lesson on questioning authority, and so this is specifically tied to one of the frames in the new framework and deals with how authority is constructed and contextual based on whatever community you happen to be a part of or that you are joining as you conduct research. We also have a lesson on the value of information, so how to identify the characteristics of information that contribute to its value. So these are the ones that we have up and available right now, and like I said, I can show you the other ones that we've got. But I'm going to jump into this first one just so you have an idea of what these look like. All right, so every lesson that we have includes a small anticipatory set or a leading question that is meant to get students to start thinking about the topic. And in this particular lesson, we're talking about the difference between research topics and research questions. And trying to help the students to refine broad topics, things like gun control or global warming, into a question or an issue that they can actually write a 5 to 10 page research paper about. Go to the next page here. We try and include as many visuals as possible, images and videos. This one here is describing the difference between a topic and a question so that they start thinking about how they can refine their research ideas. And in all of our lessons, we use generalized topics like vaccines or like smoking bans so that students might relate to the topics even if they're not majoring in a related area. We also try and relate the topic to their personal experiences. So like this one here, which references a Google search for a broad topic like vaccines. So all students are likely to have Googled something and seen a large set of results for a term that they entered. And here we're trying to get them to think about the various reasons that people might look for information and introduce them to a method for refining a research question, in this case the 5W method, the who, what, when, where, why. And then we have an embedded video here at the bottom which walks them through the process of refining a big topic into a research question using that method. So I'll play just a little bit of this video for you so you can get an idea for what these look like, and then I'll cut it off here after a few seconds.
The 5W criteria can add context to your investigation
Volume
and
here.
turn a topic into a research question. The who describes an individual or select population you are investigating. The what describes a specific aspect or element that directly impacts the who. When is a time frame in which you might limit your investigation. Where is a geographical location where you might focus. The why is the reason why this investigation is important or meaningful. The why is not necessarily a part of the final research question, but more informative of the scope of the project in general.
Okay, so I'm going to cut it off there. You kind of got the idea. Some of these videos we create in-house. This is an example of one that we created here in the libraries. Some of them we use from other libraries or organizations which are vested in the topics that we're exploring, but we use a variety of materials in all of these lessons. We also try and build in as much interactivity as possible so that the lessons are less passive. And this is one example of that. This is a drag and drop labeling activity where they have to label each part of a research question using the 5W criterion that they just learned about. So I'll just kind of show you briefly how this works. So they drag the 5W criteria up to the appropriate slot. It gives them a little chime when they get it right, and a not so pleasant chime when they get it wrong. So that's one example of the interactivity that we build in. We've also got multiple choice questions like this one, which asks them to narrow a research question further by adding a 5W criteria. And then we've also got some summative assessment questions at the end of the lesson, which try and capture if they've actually mastered the objective of the lesson as a whole. So all of our lessons are structured similarly to this one. They've all got images, videos, interactivity, assessments, and we've done it that way so that they can either stand alone, you can use these individually, or you can combine these together in a package. They're all designed to be completed in under 15 minutes, and each lesson is mobile friendly, so the students can do them at their own time, at their own pace, and using whatever device they are most comfortable with. So these are likely very different from the types of click here, click there library tutorials you may have seen in the past, and that's intentional. We have those traditional types of tutorials available too if you want them. But for this project, we set out specifically to create content that is not only technology, vendor, and institution agnostic, but that covers concepts in a way that will be helpful for students, not only while they're here at K-State completing their degrees, but also which will be helpful for them when they graduate and go out into the world and start interacting with information in different ways for different purposes. So we've really tried to focus on building an opportunity for lifelong learning in tandem with the content that will be immediately useful for them in their research assignments here at K-State. So one of the best parts about these lessons is that they can be embedded into your Canvas courses and linked to your gradebook, so you can assign points not only for completion, but also for right and wrong answers, however you prefer. The process is relatively easy, and I'll just show you how it works really briefly here. This is a sandbox Canvas course that I have created to add in a soft chalk lesson. This is the software that we've used to create these lessons. You simply add an assignment, and then one of the NLA project members will give you a URL that you will enter into this area right here, this external tools options area. So it's just a copy and paste of a URL, and you've got an embedded NLA lesson in your Canvas course. So it's very easy, and we are happy to walk you through the process of doing this. So I'm going to go back to our website here to summarize and close up. So why use the lessons? We've listed some of the instructor and student benefits here on the website, which I am not going to read to you, but I will highlight a couple of these as well as some of the very positive feedback that we've received from K-State faculty who have used these in the last couple of semesters. So the first is, if you're already working with a librarian for instruction sessions, and even if you're not, these lessons can be a great way to use class time more productively rather than spending lots of time covering introductory research topics during class. We had one, I believe she's an English instructor, who said that these lessons saved her over a week of class time by having the students complete this content ahead of time. And also she said that she was able to reduce the number of one-on-one consultations she was doing with students who were struggling with refining their research topics from a broad topic down to a more manageable topic. We've also had faculty tell us that these lessons were a great way to gauge what the students are struggling with so that interventions can be made either by the librarians who are providing face-to-face instruction or by the faculty or instructors themselves. We've even had one history faculty member, he's emailed us and said that he loves these so much that he's going to include them in every class he's going to teach from here on out that requires a research component. So we've got lots of great feedback from our KSU faculty members and instructors, but we've also got lots of great feedback and lots of success with these lessons outside of K-State. We're currently using these in 5 different institutions, and we've got more on the way who are interested in using them. So I'd love to hear from any faculty who are interested in using the lessons, anyone with ideas for content that you feel we should focus on next, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, Joelle, it looks like we have one question that came in over the chat. What tools did you use to create the videos, and have you written about those lessons in K-State Today?
Oh, okay. So we use a variety of software to create the videos. We've used Camtasia, we've used Adobe Captivate. Let's see, I've used Video Scribe, I think is another one I used to create an animated video. We've got a Powtoon video, lots of different softwares to create those. So we do the ones that we create in-house. It just depends on what kind of effect we're going for. Really. So that's an answer to the first question. The second question, no, I don't think that we've written about the lessons in particular for K-State Today. We did win a national award within our Association of College and Research Libraries for the instruction section, which had a press release that went out through K-State Today. But other than that, we haven't written about the lessons in particular.
Okay. Any other questions? Feel free to send them in over the chat or just unmute your microphone. One thing I always like to ask during these sessions, Joelle, if they do have questions later that they're not thinking of right now, what's the best are you the right person they should get in contact with, and how would they do it?
Yep, you can contact me. Let's see here, I'll share again. Put my email address up here. So you can contact me. I'm a project lead for the NLA. You can contact Sarah Kearns. She's also in my department. Or if you are working with a librarian already to provide instruction sections for your class, you can contact them too, and I can provide them with the links and other information that they'll need to help you get those embedded into your courses.
Okay. A couple more questions coming in. First, someone said, I want to hear some more about the issue of authority and what the lesson is about informational authority.
Informational authority, okay. Well, I'll just go ahead and open this one up, and I'll kind of show you what all is in there. So we're talking about how authority is constructed in various environments and why authority matters in the research process. So we find that we have a lot of students who will get Wikipedia articles, they'll find Joe Schmo's website, that contains information, and they'll try and use that in a paper or as an authoritative source. And so this lesson is aimed at teaching students about the various kinds of authority, especially academic authority, or the authorities that we feel are valid in our contexts. So let's see here. Go to the next page. There's a really good graphic that I want to show. Oh, right. So basically, you wouldn't ask your dad about the molecular structure of caffeine, just like you wouldn't ask your professor about the latest barista job opening. So we're trying to illustrate just the differences in authority and where they might find that authority. Engagement poll. Go here to the video. One more. Here we go. So this one in particular is, I think, illustrative of this lesson in general. So we've got researchers in academia and we've got researchers in industry, and they might have different reasons for looking for information. And so we used a tobacco company as an example. So tobacco company researchers may be looking for a different result that shows smoking is less harmful. University researchers, on the other hand, may be looking for general effects of smoking. So we're trying to get them to maybe look at the bias or where some of these opinions are coming from when they find sources, especially online, outside of the library purview. And then later in the lesson, we also have a little bit of information about marginalized voices. So what voices don't you see represented in some of the academic materials that you might find, and why is that a problem? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, she said, thanks for sharing the question. Okay, next question. How can I share a sample of the lessons with my colleagues who didn't see this meeting? And I'm going to jump in really quick. All of these tech sessions are recorded and they are posted on our tech website, and I will show that at the end of today's session. But as far as Joelle, do you have anything else to add to that as far as seeing a sample of the lessons?
Sure. Anyone can access that page that I showed you. It's just the library's, the main library website /NLA. Anyone can email me and I can send you the direct link to that page. I'm also happy to visit department meetings. I'm happy to meet with individual faculty. I'd be happy to answer questions in whatever format works for you. So if you've got a few colleagues that would like to see these in more detail, I'm happy to set up a meeting.
Excellent. Okay, and one, I don't know if you want to pull up the chat message or not, Joelle, but one of the questions, so what if I get a message when I try to access the first lesson, asking the right question, that says the content you have requested requires authentication and asks for a user identifier, and I am able to access the other lessons?
Oh, okay. It must be one that we just added yesterday. We had a couple of new ones, and based on our back-end system, we have to set these up in a certain way so that they're either public or they require authentication into the lesson. So I'll have to go in, Lauren, and make sure that all of those are publicly accessible. Sorry about that.
Good deal. These are great questions. Does anybody else have any questions?
Thanks for your comment, Rebecca. We're proud of these too.
Maybe while everyone is still thinking, I will go ahead and share the page where you can find the recordings of these Tech Tips live series. So I have the page pulled up right here. It is k-state.edu/its/tech-tips-live. I'm getting better at saying that every week. All of our previous sessions are found here. If you just click on the arrow next to a specific topic, you will see the video posted on that topic. So as soon as we can, we will get the video up for today's event. And then I think we had one more question come in, so before I plug next week's. Okay, the next question: to embed the lesson in Canvas, do we need to get the URL from you, or can we just copy it off the website?
Yeah, for now, we can set you up with the right URL. It uses an LTI integration, so we need to give you the right link so that it works properly within Canvas. So yes, for now, contact me or Sarah or your normal librarian that you work with for the URLs, and we can get them to you.
Good question. Any other questions before we wrap it up? Okay, let me share the Tech Tips Live website one more time. I hope everyone can join us next week. Next week's presentation will be about useful apps for your iOS and Android devices. It's Andrew Keeler from the Instructional Technology team who will be giving the presentation, and I know he has a couple really good apps that I think will be useful for a lot of different areas. So hopefully everyone can join in for that session as well. And as long as there's no more questions, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, Joelle, for presenting today. Very good information.
You're very welcome.
And I hope everyone has a great week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.